Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. All right. All right. Let me go ahead and restart then. Mm, no, it's fine. I'll go ahead and just start from here. And then I'll just cut part of it. Okay. So, going back to okay. So, sorry everyone. Some technical difficulties. Um, that hopefully seem like they are resolved now. Okay. So, wanted to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving today for Mental Health Monday. Welcome to Mental Health Monday. Um, as everybody knows, Thanksgiving is this week on Thursday. And there's a couple things I want to talk about. One, I want to talk about a little bit of the psychology of Thanksgiving, which is more the psychology of gratitude, and that's both giving and receiving gratitude. And then I also want to talk about a little bit about just some possible tips of how to deal with the holiday, because I know for some people it can be very stressful. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. First, I'm going to go ahead and start with more the science of gratitude. So, when we receive and give gratitude, we release neurotransmitters called dopamine and serotonin. And dopamine is known as the reward neurotransmitter, and then serotonin is known as the happy molecule, essentially. So, both are good neurotransmitters, uplifting mood and all of that. So, they're good for a positive, good mood. And so that's always, of course, that's always a good thing, is to have those neurotransmitters released. There's also more behind giving and receiving gratitude. It can greatly improve relationships of any kind, and it when we give gratitude, because we naturally want to think of negative things. It's a common thing. It's just we pretty much are automatically think more negatively. When we are trying to think of what we're thankful for, then we have to think more positively. So then it helps us think a little bit differently, and it can help us definitely change from negative to a positive way of thinking, even if it's just temporary. And it's really it's really good for both giving and receiving. And this goes for all of it. Hold on. I have an article that I was reading called The Psychology of Giving Thanks. It's on Scientific American. Um, and it talks a lot about, there's a part of it talks about how every day should be more Thanksgiving because of the positive effects of gratitude. And I would agree with that. I mean, we should be thankful more than just one day of the year. I kind of feel that way about Valentine's Day too. Of we shouldn't just be showing how much we love that person one day of the year. It should be all the time. But in particular, we always do try to. Most people do try to focus on being thankful on Thanksgiving. So it helps. Hold on, let me look at some of so when you give, when you are helpful and everything to somebody, it makes obviously somebody feel really good. It makes them feel appreciated, makes them feel, you know, thankful. And it can be something very small. Um, and then, of course, on the other side is that we feel good to do things and help people and whatnot. Gratitude regardless of personality, what kind of personality you have, and that includes people who are maybe very introverted, extroverted, people who are forgiving or not forgiving, open or not. It doesn't, everybody has a higher level of happiness when giving and receiving gratitude. And it also helps with morality. So when we focus more on gratitude, we're a little bit more moral because we think more about, because we have a more positive way of thinking and whatnot. And so we think a little bit more about the right thing to do. And especially when, because when you're giving and receiving gratitude, typically it means that there's something that's been well received, and that's whether you're the one receiving it or you're the one giving. It's still, sorry, there's a notification and it just distracted me. So it either way, it's still, it makes you feel appreciated, and it builds a lot with community too, because if we're giving and receiving things, if we are sharing gratitude, then it builds a sense of community, it builds a sense of unity, because we're helping each other out. And when gratitude what follows with gratitude typically is that there's something that has been done, and whether that's you're receiving it or giving it, that has been well received. And that's why morality goes up, because it's something good. It's been something that's been positive, something that's appreciated. So it's really good to really focus on gratitude, and that's both giving gratitude and receiving gratitude, and just sharing what, that we're thankful for somebody doing that. It makes you, like I said, it makes you think more positively. It also, let me see. It also helps with people to feel that they're useful. Because if you're giving gratitude, then, for example, if someone's done something nice for you or whatever, and you're giving gratitude, whatever it is that they've done, then they feel that they've been helpful, they feel that they're needed, they feel that they're doing something right. So it's a really good thing, even more than just about, I appreciate what you did. It makes people feel more connected. It makes people feel more important in life, because if they're receiving gratitude, then that means that they've done something right, that they have done something helpful and useful. And everybody wants to feel that they have, that they're needed, that they're useful. So everybody wants to be needed in some kind of way, and expressing gratitude allows people to know that they're needed, that whatever they've done is something that was appreciated and needed and helpful. So expressing and receiving gratitude are very, very good things. They help uplift mood, they release neurotransmitters that are mood lifters, and they build up relationships in a positive way. So when it might seem kind of cheesy, sometimes, it can feel a little cheesy to sit there and go around the table and give thanks. Try to really appreciate it. If you do that, or even if people don't necessarily do that, you can always be the person who brings up giving thanks. Because if you do that and you really try to get into it, then you're going to notice that it will actually uplift your mood, even if it's just for a little bit. Now that we have a little bit of a background of the science behind gratitude, and that it actually does have a psychological effect and change, I want to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving as a holiday for just situations that I've heard of and encountered myself. There's no right way to celebrate Thanksgiving. And you don't even have to celebrate Thanksgiving. But if you're, regardless of what you're doing, I encourage you to find one thing that you're thankful for. Even if you're sitting there by yourself and you're eating, I don't care, McDonald's. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just think of at least one thing that you're thankful for. And it could literally just be, I'm thankful for eating whatever I'm eating, or I'm thankful for, this show being on Netflix or something. It can be something small, but just find something. Find one thing. I 3 is even better, but at least find something regardless of where you're at to be thankful for, to actually really try to think about it. Now, I know, because so for me, my family it's never been a big, Thanksgiving's never been a big holiday. Um, Most of my extended family lives very far. So it's pretty much just been my immediate family, which is just me and my mom and dad. And 3 people to do the whole thing it's a lot for just 3 people. You talk about weeks of leftovers and it just gets very tiring, and just the whole thing is exhausting. And so it was always different for me. And the other reason why it was different was because I grew up in retail, essentially. My dad, for pretty much my entire childhood, worked at Toys R Us. So he always. Oh, okay. Um, he always had Black Friday and everything that he had to go to. And to me, Black Friday was more of a holiday because I used to, and of course, now Black Friday is a very different thing now, especially after COVID. But at the time when I was growing up, when I was younger, he would go in, of course, earlier and earlier because he was always the opener for Black Friday. And of course, Black Friday started going earlier and earlier. It started at 9 a.m. on Friday, then it started at 5 a.m., then it started at midnight. So it just kept going earlier and earlier, with stores competing with each other and whatnot. So when I was younger, I also did Toys for Tots. And this was, I did with my dad. My dad served in the Navy. So he would go and put on his Navy uniform. And then I would have, when I was younger, it was my Girl Scout uniform. And we had talked to the person who was in charge of Toys for Tots down in my region and whatnot. And they said that they appreciate any support. So we were the door greeters. And so when people got stuck in line, they would talk to us. And a lot of times people would end up trying to find what little bit of cash might be at the bottom. I mean, not that anybody really carries cash anymore, but whatever little bit of cash at the bottom of their purse or something. But either way, people enjoyed just being greeted, and it was just a nice little way of entering in such a chaotic day. And especially when they got stuck in line, because there would only be so many people that would be let in. So for me, Black Friday was more of a holiday than Thanksgiving, because my dad always, he usually was sleeping and whatnot because he was preparing for work the next day, or that night, honestly. It just depended. So while I might not have had the traditional way of Thanksgiving, that doesn't mean it wasn't still in a different way special. And like I said, there's no right way to celebrate Thanksgiving. You don't have to have the turkey. You don't have to be surrounded by a bunch of people. It doesn't matter if you are by yourself. It doesn't matter if you're just with a couple people. It doesn't matter who you're with. But I do encourage that you find something that you're thankful for, because that's more of the idea of, Thanksgiving is trying to find is things that we're thankful for. And this is something that, yes, I definitely think we should do more often, and we typically don't, but at least try to do it. And don't let anybody, if you don't have the traditional way of celebrating Thanksgiving, don't let anybody get you down about it. Don't let, cuz I used to have, of course, friends when I was growing up. I used to have friends who had, their whole family come over and whatnot. And it just, I guess, even when they kind of maybe had judged me a little bit, I never cared because, like I said, Black Friday was kind of more the holiday for me. And I was always very thankful for that time I got to spend with my dad and be able to, help out a charity and whatnot. It was something that was really fun. It was something that was really exciting. So it doesn't matter how you celebrate. It doesn't matter if you're not really celebrating. Just think about something you're thankful for. And I think that's a perfect way to celebrate, no matter where you're at, who you're with, and whatnot. So there's that. Now, I know that the typical thing of Thanksgiving is getting together with either a large group of friends or a large group of family. I know typically that traditional idea is getting together with family and having this big meal and whatnot. But something that I want you to try to keep in mind, because Thanksgiving can be very stressful. And I think that kind of sucks because it's supposed to be a day that we're giving and receiving gratitude, and yet it can be stressful. Now, it can be stressful for, of course, multiple reasons, because if you're cooking, cooking gets really stressful. Trying to get everything done, trying to prepare everything, that gets very chaotic, that gets very stressful. And don't don't get too hard on yourself. If you need help, don't be afraid to ask for help if it's available. And just be appreciate the work that you've done, no matter if it didn't turn out exactly how you wanted it. Appreciate yourself. Feel accomplished that you've done it. Now, as far as being in, if you're helping out or whatnot, and that may not be your thing, it may not be the most fun thing. Think about this. If you're finding it, if you're say you're having to help out in the kitchen with your siblings or what have you, and you don't really want to spend time with, or your cousins or something, whoever you're in the kitchen with, you don't really want to be there, and you don't really want to be trying to help out in the kitchen. Instead of focusing on it being a chore of cooking, focus on being grateful that you're able to spend time with that person. And it will change your mood because you're going to be focused on the gratitude. And as we talked about earlier in the stream, gratitude releases both dopamine and serotonin, which is a mood lifters. As far as the gatherings, I know it can be stressful because getting together with family can be stressful. I know that all too well. I love my family, but there are people that can be very difficult to get along with. And honestly, one of the biggest things is that most of my family lives in a different part of the country, so we have very different lives. And so it can be very challenging trying to coexist and trying to find a flow and trying to understand each other. It can get really stressful, it can get really frustrating. Now, I know this happens all too much, and I've dealt with it myself, is there's a lot of times there's that family member who likes to say negative things or turn things negatively. So say you have a job that you just started and you really like, and whoever doesn't approve. Try to remember, because I know this can get really frustrating, this can really bring you down and everything. Try to remember that it's your life. So no matter how much people are possibly, unless you're seeking advice or something like that, no matter how much people may express disappointment or any kind of negative comments or something like that, remember it's your life, and if you're happy with it, then be happy with it. Just, just one of those in one ear, out the other. And while you're spending that day with them right now, that doesn't mean that, your every day is spent with them. So just focus more on what is making you happy on the everyday, if you start to get too down on what they're telling you need to do in your life. Stick by your decisions. And you don't have to sit there and argue with them or anything. You can just go, okay, thanks for your input or whatever, or just nod your head. Or if you really start to get too upset or stressed out, excuse yourself. Say, oh, I'm sorry, I need to go to the restroom or whatever. There's different ways you can excuse yourself. So just try to keep that in mind. Try not to let the negativity, any kind of negative comments, any kind of frustrations, any kind of stress of being around family or even friends affect who you are and affect how you feel. Because instead of focusing on their negative comment, focus on why you're doing, what makes you happy about the things you're doing. So there's that. Another thing too that I think you could always do is and I think this is something that's actually really, really important, is if you're having somebody who's possibly nagging you or what have you, and it's getting really frustrating hearing them, instead of focusing on the negative things that they're saying, focus on gratitude. Because, like I said, gratitude is a natural mood uplifter. And focus on the gratitude, if it's just nothing else, but just the gratitude of being able to be in their presence. Because no one's guaranteed tomorrow. So try to remember, even regardless of how frustrating or how aggravating that person may be at the time, and you know what? You can even say that. If they're in the middle of, and sometimes that might actually help. If they're in the middle of trying to tell you all the things that you're doing wrong in your life, just sit there and reply with, I'm so thankful that you're my whatever. My friend, my grandma, my cousin, my whoever it is that's talking to you. I'm so thankful that you are in my life, essentially. And, honestly, it might very well change the situation greatly for both you and that person, because that person is most likely going to be focused on the gratitude that you just gave them, and you are also going to benefit from the gratitude that you just gave. So both of you are going to have these neurotransmitters that are going to be released, and you're going to have that relationship building and whatnot, that there's going to be a lot of natural positive effects that are going to happen. So that's something that I suggest, is if you're really having difficulties with somebody, family, friend, whoever it is, that's giving you a hard time, just, either excuse yourself or something, or just in the middle of their tangent, you can just be like, I'm really thankful you're in my life. That's it. Because they're gonna feel appreciated. And you don't have to take their advice. You don't have to take what they said. They're going to receive it as they've been beneficial, that they've been helpful. Like I said, it's your life. So what happens the next day, that's up to you. You don't let them get you down on it, but just tell them that you're thankful that you have them in your life, because that's something that I feel like we take for granted way too often, is each other. And I mean, I know I've been guilty of it, is that we take life for granted. Just in general, we take life for granted, because like I said, no one's guaranteed tomorrow. And I know that's kind of a morbid thought, but it's the reality, is, you never know. So always be thankful that you're able to see that person, even if that person may be driving you crazy and all you want to do is put their head through a wall. Ultimately, at the end of the day, you still love them, and focus on that. Just kind of block out what they're saying and focus on that, because I can tell you, I can think back to times when I was visiting family and I was getting nagged on and whatnot, and getting really, really frustrated with all of it. But now that that person is no longer here, I would do anything to have that back. As frustrating and as irritating as that was, and as much as I hated hearing all the comments, I would give anything to have that back. Because while there was nagging and frustrations, there was also a lot of positivity. And like I said, we naturally will think negatively. It's just natural. It's just our nature. So if we force ourselves to think positively, and we say, just simply saying, even if it's just to yourself, I'm grateful that I'm here with this person, even if you really are not really happy with that person at the moment, focus on the fact that you have the ability to see them right now, that you have the ability to spend time with them. Because like I said, I would give anything for people that are no longer here to be able to hear them nag, hear them say whatever comments I didn't enjoy hearing back when I had the time that I was spending with them. Because like I said, there was a lot of really positive, amazing things. And once you express that gratitude, you're more likely, because you're going to change your way of thinking, you're going to switch the direction of more positive way of thinking, you're probably going to find more things that you're thankful for because of them. Instead of focusing on being irritated with them in the moment, you're going to think, oh, I'm really thankful that they're in my life. And then you're going to probably, most likely, naturally going to start thinking of things that they've done really, the really great things that, the moments that you really do appreciate, the things that you really do enjoy about them. And it can be something small. It can be something big. It doesn't matter. But I know family can be difficult, and I know family can be very frustrating. I understand that all too well. But if you're spending, and even friends too, and maybe, I know there's people who do Friendsgiving, and that's awesome. And sometimes you may end up not knowing everybody at a friend's gathering. I've had a Thanksgiving like that before. And that's okay. Just focus on what you're grateful for that day. At least for that day, focus on, oh, this food is really good. Or, while I really don't like that person over there, I'm still thankful for being able to be friends with this person. So just try to try to focus on what you're thankful for, regardless of how stressful the day gets. Just find something. And even if it's just anything, just find something that you're thankful for. And I know it might sound kind of cheesy, and this is something, honestly, that you should do. And I'm guilty of it too. And I should take my own advice, but it's something that I think we should just be doing more often. It shouldn't be just on Thanksgiving, but I know Thanksgiving is just a good reminder to be able to do it, because the idea is it's a holiday where you show your thanks, where you're thankful and everything. So try to actually focus on that, even if you're just saying it in your head. But honestly, if you have the ability to, I would express it. I would express your gratitude. And like I said, it can be as simple as just, I'm thankful that you're in my life. And like I said, if it's somebody, like if you're at a friend's place and there's somebody you really can't stand, you can always just be thankful that you're tolerating being in the same room as them. Because while that might seem still kind of negative, it won't be, because you're going to be thinking when it might make you laugh a little bit, and two, you're going to be thinking, wow, I'm doing good. I'm, I'm not, I'm behaving well with this person that I don't like. And that's something to, you should be thankful to be able to, that you're doing that. You should express gratitude for yourself to be able to keep it together and stuff, because that can be really hard. So that's something that I definitely encourage, just any day, but definitely Thanksgiving. I know Thanksgiving can get really chaotic and can get really stressful, and it doesn't matter what kind of stressful situation, whether it's you're cooking in the kitchen and things aren't going right, you're getting nagged by a family member, you're having to deal with, you're in a group of friends and there's a friend that you don't really like being around. However it is, when it starts to get stressful, try to think of something you're thankful for. And if it's something related to, and like I said, if you're in the kitchen and things are getting stressful, just think, I'm thankful for having these people over, or whatever. It doesn't have to be, it can be anything. Just stop for a second and just think about something that you're thankful for. And I know it might seem kind of ridiculous, it might kind of seem cheesy, but it will help. Even if you may not think it will, or you may not realize it, it will help, because it will release those neurotransmitters that are mood uplifters, and they're going to help combat the stress. So it's something I highly recommend. Like I said, I know it can be a very, very stressful holiday. I know it can be also a really fun holiday. And I think that we need to do this more often. Like I said, I need to take my own advice, but that's something I highly recommend when trying to cope with this holiday. If it does get stressful, if it does turn negative, is to try to find something you're thankful for. And when it comes to the relationships with other people, if someone's being difficult and stressing you out, just try to remember what you're thankful for. And like I said, it can just literally just be, I'm thankful that I'm able to be in this moment with you. And while you may not actually want to be there with them right now because they are nagging you and they are driving you crazy and saying all these negative things, once you say that, and I definitely recommend saying it to that person, because we take each other for granted way too often. And I feel like it's something important to be able to say, because I know I have a family member that passed unexpectedly, and I wish I would have expressed my gratitude more. So while you may not be thankful for the situation that's currently happening, think a little bit more broad spectrum, in that you're thankful that you get to have this moment with them. Because like I said, I would do anything to have moments back with family members, even the negative ones, because I love them and I miss them. So that's something that it's a very basic thing. It's just being thankful for life, essentially. Just being able to breathe. That you're breathing the same air as that person, that you're in the room with that person, that you're actually able to see them and hug them and whatever. And when you express that gratitude to them, especially, it's going to be good for both you and them. And it will likely, and I can't guarantee it, but there's a good chance that once you express that gratitude towards them, of just, and it honestly, saying just, I'm thankful that you're in my life, is actually a really big thing. It's a very nice thing, because it's a generic thing. So then you're not having to go into details of, well, I'm not really grateful that you're, giving me this really bad advice, or I'm not overly happy that you're nagging me. But they're going to just take it as, that's not what is going to be focused on. So but there are going to be, I'm sure there's something that you're happy that, even if it's just, I share blood with this person. I share genetics with this person. And it makes me who I am. And so try to just be at least thankful for life, for being able to breathe. If you can't find anything else in the moment, just think about that, because you never know. And when you express that to that person, if there's somebody who's frustrating you really bad, and you say that you're thankful for that person in a situation where they're nagging you or something, it will likely have the opportunity to be able to shift it into a positive direction. Because if you just say, I'm thankful that you're in my life, they're going to feel appreciated. They're going to feel that they've been helpful. Even if what they're doing at the moment is not helpful, they're just going to focus on they're helpful in your life, that you need them, that they have some kind of purpose in your life that's good, and it's going to build that community, and it's going to help build a more positive direction and a positive relationship and a just more positive way of thinking. And we need to try to do that more often, because again, we naturally think negatively, and there's a lot of negative things that are going on in the world, and it sucks. So just try to, if you express that, it will be good for both you and them. So I definitely encourage, regardless of how difficult it may be, this holiday, if you find yourself in a difficult situation with a difficult person, tell them that you're thankful that they're here. And they're gonna feel appreciated. Their mood is gonna uplift, and your mood is gonna uplift. So it's going to create a more positive attitude for both you and them. And it's going to give, like I said, those neurotransmitters are going to be released, and that's a really good thing for both. You're talking about the reward neurotransmitter and the happy molecule, so they're both mood uplifters. So that's something that I kind of wanted to go over with Thanksgiving, is regardless of how you celebrate, even if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, and there is nothing wrong with that, don't let anybody get you down on the way you spend your time this Thanksgiving. Regardless of how you spend your time this Thanksgiving, I recommend you I encourage 3, but at least one thing that you're thankful for. Legitimately think about one thing that you are thankful for, regardless of how you're celebrating or not celebrating. However you're spending the day on this Thursday, just try to think of one thing. And if you can do it every day, try to do it every day, because it's definitely a good thing. And I've noticed it, because I have this app called Finch. It's a really fun app. It's a mental health app. And one of the things on there is one thing that you're thankful for. And there's been times that I've had really difficult days, and I've responded, I've written down my thing in that. And sometimes it can be really hard to find, but the minute that I found, even if it's something small, I did notice that regardless of how low I might be, it did have at least a temporary positive effect. Now, I'm not saying that giving this gratitude, that, telling somebody that you're thankful is, or even just thinking to yourself something you're thankful for, is going to make your entire day be wonderful. I'm not saying that, but it might. You never know. You never know how much it could change and shift the energy of the day, of your attitude of the day. And like I said, if you can try to do it every day, even better. And I know people talk about this and everything, and I used to even think, oh, that's so cheesy and whatnot. But no, it does. It actually has a psychological, biological, natural thing that occurs that will, in fact, uplift mood. And we definitely could always use that. Regardless of your mental health, we can always use a mood booster. So that's something I recommend, is don't let anybody get you down on how you're spending your Thursday this week. But regardless of how you're spending your Thursday this week, try to think of 3 things you're thankful for. And if you are spending Thursday in a big gathering, whether that's family, friends, or whatever it is, if the situation starts to get stressful, or if there's a particular person who starts to stress you out, one, remember your health is important. So if they're really starting to affect you badly, you know, if they say, because I mean, anxiety is a really bad issue. And say this person, whatever they're doing, is starting to create anxiety. Don't be afraid to excuse yourself. It's completely fine. Remember that. It's completely fine for you to have to excuse yourself. And there's always something that you can find that you can, make up of, I have to go to the bathroom, or I need to get a drink of water, or something. There's always some kind of little something that you can figure out as an excuse to need to be able to step away. And then, step away, collect yourself, and, in that moment, once you're calmed down and everything, and you're spending that moment trying to collect yourself, before you go in back into, say, the house or wherever you're at, before you go back in and join the festivities again, think of something you're grateful for, because then it's going to uplift your mood, because it's going to really set dopamine and that serotonin, and that's going to help with anxiety and depression and any kind of negative mood, because those are both positive neurotransmitters that are mood uplifters. And so when you go back in, you're going to likely go back in at least with a little bit more of a positive attitude, and that can really have a great effect. So try to just, even if it's something small, try to think of something you're thankful for. If somebody starts to become really difficult, and say there's a person who you don't like at a friend's house and you end up having to encounter them, just say, oh, I'm really thankful that you were able to make it. Even if you're not really happy that they're here, just say that, because again, be thankful for life. While you may not like that person, we need to be more, I feel like we should just in general be more grateful that we have, that we're able to breathe and that we have life. So that's something that I highly recommend and I highly encourage when Thursday comes and things get stressful, is try to think of something you're grateful for. And if you're in a situation where you start to get nagged on by a family member, tell them that you're thankful for them. It's going to, and that's all you have to say. It's just, I'm thankful that you're in my life, or I'm thankful that I get to be here right now with you. Because it's going to shift their way of thinking. It's going to shift your way of thinking. It's just going to shift everything into a more positive direction. Because that's the other thing, is if they're saying a lot of negative comments to you, with gratitude, it does direct us into a more positive way of thinking, and that's both giving and receiving. And so they're likely to not be focusing on nagging you anymore on these negative comments, because you've redirected them into a more positive direction. Because we just can't help but, think about it. When somebody thanks you, when someone says that they appreciate something that you've done, or whatever it is, you can't help but it feels good. It feels nice to be appreciated, because everybody likes to feel needed, and everybody needs that sense of, we naturally need to be, we're social creatures. We don't do well being completely alone, which is why, COVID was very, very a lot with people. That's a whole different subject that we can go into later on a different Mental Health Monday. But, yeah, we're social, we're definitely social creatures. So it will help build community, that sense of community, and that, that shared, because it will build a more positive direction of a relationship because of that sense of community. It's going to just naturally bring a more positive outlook. And you never know how much that person might need to hear it. Just saying something as simple as, I'm thankful that you're here, could mean the world of a difference to somebody. So I encourage that you do it. It may seem cheesy, and we should do it more often than just on Thanksgiving, but definitely this Thursday, try to find 3 things you're thankful for, however you're spending your Thanksgiving, if you're not celebrating, however you're spending this Thursday. Think of 3 things you're thankful for. And when things start to get stressful, don't be afraid to have to take care of your mental health. Make sure you take care of you. If it's starting to get too much, either excuse yourself, or, like I said, a great way to try to change the direction of things is to say something you're thankful for, especially if it's something that you can find that you're thankful for about them. And you can even say, I'm thankful that you wore that today because you look amazing. Something, that may seem ridiculous, but it's going to naturally release serotonin and dopamine, which will lift the mood and change the way of thinking for both you and them in a positive direction. So that's something I highly recommend, is during the stress of Thanksgiving, try to remember what you're thankful for and express it. It may seem cheesy, but express it, because it's going to benefit you and that person. It's going to create a more positive situation, and it's going to help build the relationship in a positive direction too. So that's kind of all I have to say about Thanksgiving. It's just that gratitude is a really important thing. There's a lot of psychological effects with gratitude. The fact that it releases dopamine and serotonin, and that it builds a sense of community. It helps people feel needed. It has a lot of positive effects psychologically. So expressing gratitude, even if it's to yourself, think of things that you're thankful for this Thursday, regardless of how you're spending it. And make sure you take care of you. Don't be afraid to do what you need to do for your mental health, but express your gratitude. Say what you're thankful for, because even if it may seem small and cheesy to you, it may be a big, big deal to somebody else. But yeah, that's all I have to say about that. And I'm thankful for you guys for watching these segments and supporting my channel, and taking the time to think about your mental health. I'm thankful for those things. Those are 3 things that I will say that I'm thankful for right now. Is that I'm thankful for the fact that there's Twitch, that gives the ability to have this community, this relationship with other people all around the world. I'm thankful for the people who come on and support my channel, help grow my channel. And I'm thankful for the people who, sit there and watch the VODs and whatnot. And take the time to watch or join Mental Health Monday to help bring awareness and to help bring awareness to mental health. And even if that's awareness in yourself or awareness with, understanding somebody else, just mental health definitely can use more awareness. So I'm thankful that you've taken the time to watch this right now and have taken a minute to take mental health seriously and important. So just find something that you're thankful for. There's always something out there. And that's something you can do every day. In fact, I encourage it, but definitely this Thursday, think of 3 things you're thankful for. That will be it for Mental Health Monday. I will be, in about 5-10 minutes, I will be switching over to Disney Speedstorm tonight. That's what I'm going to be playing for my gaming part of the stream. So go ahead, and if you're watching right now, just in a couple minutes, keep a watch, refresh the stream. It takes me a minute to be able to set everything up and whatnot. So I will be back in a few minutes for Disney Speedstorm, and thank you. I do mean it. I'm very thankful. Thank you guys for watching and joining for Mental Health Monday. And I will see you guys later. Bye! And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I hope everyone has a wonderful and very happy Thanksgiving, regardless of how you're spending it. Bye!